Jalen Anthony Rose.
What up, doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together with Jalen Jacoby, what is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
Joining us in studio later is who, Jalen Rose?
Ryan Montgomery.
Also known as
Royce, the 5'9".
He will join us next, but we start with this. I keep waiting for the 49ers to disappoint me. I keep waiting for it to happen, and it just doesn't happen. The latest was last night. They didn't just beat the Packers. They waxed the Packers. Is it now time for us to consider them the best team in the NFC?
And putting some respect on a lot of the defensive players' names, like Armstead, like Buckner, like Warner, like Taylor, Keywan Williams out there balling. Yeah, you hear about Bosa.
You do?
Yeah, you hear about Richard Sherman. But that defense on every level has been so very dominant. And I have to just say one other thing, too.
What else are you going to say, Mr. Rose?
Aaron Rodgers been average this year.
Oh, now we're going average for Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I picked him in fantasy. So I see these numbers up close and personal. So I don't care what the hype is out there. Okay, he's a terrific player overall. And yes, he's a Hall of Famer, a champion, and all of that. But his numbers, he completed 20 balls yesterday for 100 yards barely. How do you have 20 completions and only get 100 total
Sounds
yards?
like some Tom Brady stuff, really.
Come on, man. Now, that defense, again, I want to make sure I bow down and pay all homage to the 49ers defense. But Aaron Rodgers and that offense was as inept as I have seen.
Well, to be fair, Aaron Rodgers had red jerseys next to him every time he dropped back.
He did.
Every time he dropped back, there's a red jersey right in his face.
He did.
That wasn't necessarily on him as much as it was the offensive line protecting him.
Absolutely. Sacks on sacks on sacks. They get to the quarterback. You don't have to cover long, and then their D-backs made plays.
You know what? Aaron Rodgers wasn't that great, but Jimmy G was. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo is someone who cannot be disrespected anymore. Like, he used to be kind of a punchline. We talk about how he's handsome, and, he was hurt last year. But he has proven that it's not just the defense carrying this team. Jimmy G was putting balls right where he needed to last night.
I keep telling you guys this. He's not an underrated player. They gave him over $100 million to play football after maybe 10 games.
7 games, I think.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they saw the potential in him, and I want to make sure I give Kyle Shanahan a ton of credit because when you leave a squad and you take players with you, that means you know that they could do something special that they wasn't doing in their other team. And that's what he did in Coleman. And you see that now all of a sudden they can get multiple games where they have a couple of rush TDs. They have terrific balance. Once you add Sanders, you give Garoppolo a number one. And can we not ignore a guy caught a touchdown yesterday? His last name is Samuel. But can we give him love for being named Debo?
Yes.
Like seriously, am I the only person?
But you expect him to be like a defensive lineman or something, to be 300 pounds of muscle? Like, no, he's not even that big.
Right,
but his name is Debo anyway.
His parents was watching a lot of Friday, I bet you. And also, we got a security blanket back in Kittle, who's performing like arguably the best tight end in the league.
Absolutely. Well, that wasn't the only big game yesterday. How about them Cowboys? The Cowboys went into Foxborough. The weather was bad, but they couldn't score. They ended up the game with 9 points. They could not score a single touchdown, and Jerry Jones had some interesting words after the game, as he always does. Let's listen to the owner of the Cowboys.
A significant setback for our team. We needed this win. We needed to win against an opponent like this. We haven't had them. This is very frustrating. It's frustrating to just be reminded that some of the fundamentals of football and coaching were what beat us out there today. I don't think there's a game that a coaching staff has areas that couldn't do better in. And I just don't like it that we've got so many as I'm standing here tonight. The makeup of this team, I shouldn't be this frustrated.
He's mad. Jerry Jones is unhappy. Jalen, is this the end of Jason Garrett's tenure as the Cowboys head coach?
See, on Sundays, I'm watching 10, 12 hours of football. And I have this ritual because I want to be prepared for this show and any other shows that I do. And I don't know which games we're going to ultimately talk about. So I enjoy all of them.
You know we're talking about the Cowboys.
I know. And I do this thing where I take a lot of notes and I walk around the house and my wife calls me Jay McVay. I'm writing down all of these notes for all of these games. because I want to be as prepared as anybody in this industry when it comes to talking about sports. And let me tell you what I wrote down when it was 10-0 in the second quarter of this game. I wrote down missed field goal, block punt, interception. Dak, bad throw to Cobb on 3rd and 2, which led into a field goal. They are going to lose.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely going to lose. You can tell the whole game.
And the Patriots do something that I wish my Lions did. They play in the elements. Okay? So now all of a sudden it's raining outside. Dallas plays in the dome. They didn't look like they were familiar with playing in the elements. The Patriots practice in that. They play in that. They're used to that. They get terrific at home. So I understand how Jerry wants to be frustrated about his coaching and the special teams play and all of that good stuff. But the Patriots did something really special defensively.
They were great on defense today.
Amari Cooper, silenced.
Wait, how many catches did he have?
He had less than Stephon Gilmore.
How many catches did he have?
And the problem is one of them is a defensive back.
Yes.
That's the problem. So he was on lock. Ezekiel didn't get 100. The elements were really bad. So I want to give the Patriots credit, not necessarily talk about what the Dallas Cowboys didn't do, because yesterday wasn't a surprise to me. They haven't beaten a winning team all season.
No.
And so yesterday just continues to compound that fact.
You know what really bothers me about this Cowboys team?
What's that?
They're going to make the playoffs. That really bothers me about this Cowboys team. This Cowboys team does not deserve to make the playoffs, but their division is just so trash that they're going to end up in the playoffs.
You know what else bothers me? I really don't want an owner giving live interviews real time after a game. That just kind of undermines everything. But for everybody out there and that thinks that, so now Jason Garrett's going to be the scapegoat, and all of a sudden he's going to go hire the top prospect like, let's go write a blank check for Lincoln Riley. How many years have you heard me say how much I love Jimmy Johnson? You know how much I love the U.
Every time we talk about the Cowboys,
every time we
talk about the Cowboys, you bring this up. This really hurts your heart, doesn't it?
It does. And he won Super Bowls for Jerry Jones. Still ain't put him in the ring of honor to this day.
This really bothers you.
To this day.
This really bothers you.
Because that level of petty lets you know not only does he want to win, we all want to win, but he wants to win being the face.
Jerry
the
Jones.
Figure.
You know what? Jimmy Johnson is celebrated more as a Survivor contestant than the head coach of the Cowboys. He really is. He really is. You know what? So much happened in the NFL that it almost overshadowed what happened in the NBA. Luka Doncic. Not only has he put together a season so far, he went up against that man. Look at James Harden. He went up against James Harden and out James Harden. He had 41 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists, and not just that, had a win against the Rockets, who've been playing well. Luka Doncic is on a tear, Jalen Rose.
Easy like Sunday morning.
It makes it look easy.
Not out of control, really disciplined. I love the edge that he plays with, the versatility that he has, playing in all phases, is a clutch performer, showed to be that last year. All right, he's a dynamic 20-year-old.
Yes.
And see, I'm not one of those guys to give away hyperbole fast.
You're about to say something, aren't you?
I am about to say something. When you start talking about the best players in the league, he's there right now.
He's up there. He's up there now.
He up there right
He's
now.
top 10. He's top 10 for sure.
Now. And that's so very impressive, to accomplish, and for me to acknowledge in only his second season.
But he never looks pressed. He's unbothered on the court.
Easy.
It just seems like he's a natural. Like you see certain players, they're trying. Like you look at Westbrook, like he's giving his all every single night. Doncic seems like he's got another gear to get to. Look at his last 4 games. Just the last 4 times that he laced his sneakers and took an NBA court. 37 points, 8.5 rebounds, almost 12 assists, shoot 55 from the floor, and that's just in 31 minutes.
So I'll give you the most impressive thing of all of that, the minutes per game. Mm-hmm. You getting 37 and 31 minutes and plus giving me 12 dimes and grab me 8.5 boards?
It's crazy.
There ain't too many people that have walked the face of this earth have done that.
And he's 20 years old. You know what the wildest thing about him is? They're like, he's playing well this year because he got in shape. Like, you're 19, dude. You got in shape? Like, that's how you took the leap? You got in shape?
But also, I want to continue to acknowledge American-born players, i.e. Zion Williamson, are required to go to college. International prospects like Luka have been playing professional for the last handful of years. So he enters the league game ready.
Yeah.
And now his basketball intellect and his experience carries him. So we look at him as being 20 in his second year, but it's like his fifth year, really.
When he got drafted, he was already a Finals MVP. When he got drafted. Jalen,
and a champion.
Who is joining us right after the break?
Royce the 5'9".
Make sure you stay tuned for that.
Bars!
Coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport District of Manhattan and brought to you by Delicious Heineken Beers. Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby. Jalen Rose, who is joining us in the studio?
How much do I love music, Jacoby?
It's all you talk about. More than basketball.
And what is the most important thing in music to me?
Bars!
Bars.
This gentleman right to my left spits bars! His mother called him Ryan Montgomery. However, when you spit the kind of bars that he spits, he developed a dope nickname. It's Royce the 5'9" in the building.
Royce the
What's up,
5'9" joining us in studio. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank
man.
you for having me.
Really appreciate you
Thank you
so
for
much.
having me, man.
So, your song Black Savage is
That's the
not
one.
just a banger, a guaranteed hit. First time you hear it, you're like, oh, that's a hit. It has also been selected as one of the NFL songs of the season. How did that happen? How did that come to be?
It was random conversations. I mean, obviously, as soon as I heard that the NFL and Rock Nation were getting together, and you know, like just the tag alone, Inspire Change, the Inspire Change initiative, it just totally fits like the mind frame that I was in, even writing the song. You know, I was just kind of looking at it. I was kind of looking at everything and the way that we're portrayed, you know, like, you know, on TV and everything. And I just feel like there needs to be a little bit of a balance. If people are gonna see us, they need to see us for what we really are. You know what I mean? And like a cool way to do that is to take some of the words with negative connotations to them and kind of redefine them. And you know that makes it subjective from that point. You know what I mean?
It's not
So-
a safe song. It's not like a pop song, like a family-friendly pop song.
Well, yeah, you know that's not what hip hop is. That's not what hip hop. That's like something that's been, you know, they try to indoctrinate that in us when we first get into the business. You know, going pop, it's like success. It's not success. That's not what hip hop is. You know what I mean? Like hip hop is speaking to the world unapologetically your truth in a way that can bring on positivity. And I'm like that's kind of like where I am mentally right now. And that's where I am with the song. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, we talk about how we want to have sex with everybody's girl, but how come we don't talk about being faithful to our wife? We talk about getting drunk. Why don't we talk about being sober? Let's just be who we are. You know what I mean? And if sober is what you are, then I think that's what would resonate the best if you just unapologetically be that. You know, and I'm in a way more comfortable space, just not having to like please anybody, or you know what I mean? Like everybody's out here just like conflating and you know, and just people pleasing. And you know, it's art to me. It's like I throw paint on the canvas and I hang it up and I just move on to the next thing.
And as a friend and a fan of yours, I've always been impressed by how you never sacrificed your morals for public consumption. And so I appreciate not only your lyrics and your consciousness, but your consistency. So for a song like this to get this type of support, how does it feel to you as somebody, as you mentioned, that just sees himself as an artist and never is going to compromise his values?
Yeah, I'm honored. I love it because it's like when I hang it up, I'm like, yo, it's for anybody. It's for anybody to come enjoy it. You don't have to like it, and I'm cool with that too. But if you like it, yo, we always want to be, you know, like we want to be known, we want to be appreciated for our contributions. You know what I mean? Like we don't necessarily hang our hat on it and obsess over it, but you know what I mean? Like it feels good to be recognized by anybody. So it's an honor.
So you're from Detroit. Jalen's
Yes.
from Detroit.
What up, Del?
And Michigan basketball was very important at a certain time period when Jalen Rose was on the team. So as someone from Detroit, at the age that you were at the time, what did it mean to experience the Fab Five in Detroit?
It's energy, cultural phenomenons, influence, things that range far beyond the span of just basketball. You know, like, and it's you can draw a correlation between the way that they impacted culture, like how hip hop impacted culture. You know, just unapologetically you and taking you know, the nuances that are there, and then just making them your own, doing little things that makes them them. And then, you know, we all wanted to do it too. So, you know, we had the cut off sleeves, we had the big shorts.
Everybody did.
I was shooting left hand jumpers. I had this dude who was trying to convince us that he was ambidextrous because of this man. Like his shot was terrible. He used to always pull up with the left. Like, bro, if you don't shoot with the right hand. Yeah, but it was just they had us gone, man. They had us gone. I don't think we're gonna see that ever again.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So I'm gonna ask you a question that I can't even answer myself.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your top 5 dead or alive MCs?
You think that's possible to answer?
That's why I'm like,
I think it's just a narrative at this point, man. Like the more generations that pass by, the more impossible that becomes. It's not possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like you can't put 5 people together. That's conflation. That's all that is.
Out.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's like you got different people for different reasons. Like there's certain people that I feel you can't even compare to each other. You know what I mean? Like Dr. Dre's first verse on G Thing is the perfect verse. It's a perfect verse. You know what I mean? So it's like, can you compare that to Jay-Z's verse on the Dynasty album? You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's 2 different things. It's 2 totally different contributions in 2 different ways that one can't discredit the other. It's just not. You may not have an honest conversation at that point.
So what about some of the artists that inspired you?
Yeah, I'm inspired by it. Like, I grew up on, you know, like Cube, DOC, Redman, obviously. You know, I'm really vocal about that. I love Redman. Razzcast, Busta Rhyme. I loved NWA, all the Chronic albums. And then, you know, when by the time Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z came around, I was all in.
I have a very important question. Why is Jalen Rose the only person on the planet with your new album? When are you going to share your new album with the rest of us? When we can, general population, we can citizens get your new album?
We got like a party. We got like a party that we're at. It's to listen to the album before anybody hears it party, just to make sure that we're not tripping. You know
when can the rest of us get the album? Because Jalen won't stop talking about it.
And I'm not forwarding it to you.
I already asked. I want to thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having
Royce the
me.
5'9". The new album's going to be released to more people that aren't named Jalen Rose at some point. But we appreciate you coming through. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you for having me, man.
Thanks for the love.
Yes.
When we come back, the NBA is considering some changes to the schedule, some of which Jalen Rose will like, some of which he won't. We'll get into it. Thanksgiving Eve, 7 p.m., Wednesday night, Nets and the Celtics. Jalen, can we get Spencer Dinwiddie on the show?
He's coming on.
He's
ASAP.
coming on?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, he's been balling lately. And that's at 7. The nightcap at 9:30. LeBron and the Lakers take on some former Lakers on the Pelicans. That is all Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve on ESPN. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, something we've been talking about for a long time. Some changes to the schedule of the NBA. My guy, Adrian Wojnarowski, tweeted over the weekend the following. He tweeted, reporting with Zach Lowe. NBA's engaged in serious discussions with the NBPA and broadcast partners on sweeping dramatic changes to the league calendar that include reseeding of the conference finals, an in-season tournament, and a postseason play-in. Jalen, reseeding of the conference finals seems like a compromise. I think reseeding of the playoffs is what we were asking for.
Preach to me.
An in-season tournament, I don't really care. But the postseason play-in is really interesting to me.
Well, this is things that we've talked about for a long time. And what ended up happening, Jacoby, is the era's changed really fast. From when a player valued the 82-game schedule and took pride in showing up every night versus the analytical society now having its say to the point where you have a 19-year-old and John Morant missing games early in the season due to load management.
Yep.
You have to find a way to make the regular season attractive again. Adam Silver's working at doing so.
So we think it should be 1 through 16, but they're not going to do that because the Eastern Conference owners won't vote for it. But remixing the conference finalists is interesting. So essentially, the team with the lowest record will play the team with the highest record. But does it skew towards the East because they play Eastern Conference foes, so their records will be higher anyway?
Correct. And that's why I felt like it should be an actual 1 through 16 seeding. And I think it's going to eventually get there. Hopefully, we're around to see it based on exactly what you just said. The Eastern, in your own conference, you play 52 games.
So you're going to have a high record. Jalen Rose, tonight we have the greatest show in the NFL, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens taking on the Rams. Any chance the Rams upset the Ravens?
Lamar and the Ravens are for the culture.
They really are.
Humphrey, my guy playing
Ingram.
D-back, Earl Thomas.
Big trust. Big trust.
You know,
Big trust.
As far as I'm concerned, the Ravens gonna go undefeated.
You know what?
And they already lost the game.
You know why I love this game? Because they'll be up by so much at halftime I can go to sleep. That's why I love this matchup.
But this is why you add Jalen Ramsey to go with Aaron Donald. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out.
Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. We'll be back tomorrow.